Welcome back to Pokemon Platinum. Hi, Mom. Free heal, as always.
Mom, where do you sleep?
Um,
Okay, I'm leaving. Bye.
It always makes me laugh when I go into a JRPG and they have these tiny ass houses. And it's like, wow, these houses are tiny. They actually make houses in Japan look big. I'm like,
It was a revolution in Gen 7 where your mom actually did have her own room.
yeah.
yeah, it's like, where does she sleep? I mean, the first floor is the living room, and the second floor is your bedroom. Where does your mom sleep?
She's in the kitchen making us volcano bake meat.
Where does she
Yes.
sleep? On the counter?
She's too busy making volcano baked meat to sleep.
We don't need that much volcano baked meat.
You can never have too much volcano bake meat.
Yes, you can. If you can't eat all of it, it just spoils.
It's an RPG. Stuff doesn't spoil. It sits in your bag until the end of time.
So you're telling me Ashens could eat 50-year-old oxtail or something and not
Hey, in
die?
Ocarina of Time, you can drink 7-year-old milk and it's totally fine. So I don't see why not, really.
Tutorial catch, tutorial catch.
Yes, we are really, really paranoid that we can't solve a programming issue from 1996. So we're gonna program this into every game just in case.
What programming issue was it again?
The
Missing
the
no.
missing no thing. It's in order to start the missing no glitch, you had to
You talked to the old man who would give you the catching tutorial, but you could do that whenever you wanted. But in order to make that sequence work, they would put your name in storage and load up the old man and Weedle's names. But when you got back to gameplay, it didn't have your names back where they needed to be in terms of memory. So you could fly to Cinnabar and technically get on that one water area. So when you got an encounter, the game was trying to find your name and it couldn't. So it freaked the hell out.
yeah. So and that's why, because I feel like if I remember correctly, the game will call for that information once you like enter a route or something like that.
Yeah,
But
it would do that anytime you change the routes or the town or
yeah.
something. But for some reason it didn't do that with Fly. But normally there's no way to get into a wild encounter in a city except for that one little spot in Cinnabar. So
Well, you can surf in Celadon. So can you do
I think it has something to do with the values of Cinnabar. I haven't
Okay.
tried with Celadon, so
Yeah, but anyway, the point is that programming in Gen 1 was made out of Swiss cheese. So yeah, it's probably the most easily breakable game that like major release that I've ever seen in my entire life. Like,
and red in Japanese red and green were even more broken.
which that just goes to show. Yeah, like, yeah.
I mean, to their credit, there's been no real huge glitches past Gen 2.
I mean, there are some, granted, but
Most
a
of them
lot-
have to do with Wi-Fi connection, though, which is its own can of worms.
and most of the interesting ones require like a Game Shark or something. So
Yeah,
know.
you're not going to be able to actually do in games.
Yeah, there isn't stuff like the
Missing no or glitch town
or just stuff not working when it's not supposed to or whatever. Like, I mean, granted, that I feel like that was also much more common in earlier games, because I've seen way less of that kind of stuff, at least from what I've seen in big releases after the 2000s.
A lot
because,
of the
like,
time, those kind of glitches would pop up in games that people were still getting used to designing in the first place. Like when we think of like just jumping to like more advanced stuff, when we think of the kind of glitches that Bethesda's games are known for, the big one is Morrowind, and Morrowind was like I want to say the first 3D open world game on that kind of scale.
Thanks, Ryan.
So of course Morrowind was a broken piece of shit,
And because you voted for it, it's time for the team of Eevees. Well, Eeveelutions, anyway. And I traded a bunch of Pokemon holding the stone so I can get the 3 main ones.
You see, it's weird for me now. I can't use the Eevees anymore because I've used them so much, and I want to use different Pokemon every time I play.
Whenever I start a new generation of Pokemon, I use Pokemon only from that region, for variety's sake.
Yeah.
If a new generation happens to have an evolution, great, I'll use it. But otherwise, no.
Yeah, but it's just I used the evolution so much when I was a kid that it's just like, okay, I could use Jolteon again, but I want to try something new. So, oh Jesus. Oh God. So what, do you just run around in circles in order to grind happiness for the other two to make them Espeon and Umbreon?
Basically.
How long does it take?
I don't do them right away because leveling up does give them a lot of happiness, and they don't learn any specific moves.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Until level 15, so there's kind of no point.
Yeah.
And Leafeon, you just kind of have to hang on until you get to the forest area.
So...
Man, your off-brand Avenger names are weird.
Ha. I am terrible with nicknames, so since I figured they're all, very specifically themed, I went for this. Don't ask me to nickname Pokemon, I'm terrible at it.
If you want to give me anxiety, tell me to nickname my Pokemon, and I will be sitting at that screen for 20 minutes, not knowing what I'm supposed to do.
I still nickname my Charmander Tabasco whenever I play. Always Tabasco. Because, it's hot sauce. I'm smart. Okay, so... What was with the weird-ass nicknames that were going on in the Pokemon movie, though? Like...
maybe they sounded cooler in Japanese? I don't know.
I mean, could be worse. They could be naming their Pokemon Boruto.
That's
a thing that just happened in the anime, yes.
Yeah, I know. It makes more sense in Japanese, though, because Boruto is actually just supposed to be the word bolt. But they didn't translate it properly in English because they wanted to keep the phonetic similarity to Naruto. But, to a Japanese ear, you kind of get both at the same time. But
well, is Naruto's name supposed to be like a specific word like that?
It's a ramen ingredient. It's those little swirly fish cake things.
Oh, okay. So, I guess that's
he was literally named while they were eating ramen. I'm not joking. That's a scene that actually happens.
What the fuck? Man, that poor baby can't catch a break. He's named after a seasoning and then gets the demon.
Okay, his evil alternate universe version from one of the movies is called Memna, which is another ramen ingredient. So I guess they were both named during the same ramen eating session, but Jiraiya's attention caught on a different ingredient in that universe.
Man, you know what? I'm never gonna make fun of Dragon Ball names ever again.
Hey, it's like... It makes a certain amount of sense because his mother was from, the village of whirlpools or whatever, and their emblem was a swirly thing, too. But, the name Boruto is supposed to be the English word bolt, So naming a Pikachu Bolt makes sense.
Okay, you see...
Yeah.
Now I'm reminded of my irritation at the Smash Brothers fan base right now, because the Dragon Quest XI character was added as DLC, right? And in Japan, his name is kind of default fan name is 11, like the English number 11.
Yeah.
They've done this before. The Dragon Quest 8 character's name is 8.
Yes.
Like the number 8. And Western fans have been calling him 11 for months because Dragon Quest 11 has been out for months. For some reason, one random Smash guy tweeted out that the 11 protagonist's name was Ironburn because he couldn't read the katakana correctly. And it was just instead of it being Reben, he read it as Ironburn. And then it stuck. And people just kept on calling him Ironburn, even though there are plenty of places that call him his correct name, 11, all over the place. And then when I try to tell people that they're wrong, they're like, oh, but Ironburn sounds cooler. And I'm like...
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It makes you sound like a weeb. All right? So, yeah, sorry, I'm bitter. Anyway, what were we talking about? Boruto. I heard that's actually better than Naruto, so I might actually try watching it.
It's kind of a mixture, okay, the plot is ridiculous and unnecessary, but the character moments and, they had to scale down the power, so even the battles have gotten cleverer,
It's almost like just turning into Dragon Ball Z was a really bad thing for the original franchise.
Yeah, and Boruto himself, he uses clones like his father does, but he doesn't have the ridiculous amount of energy, so he can't make 10 billion clones at once who all dogpile the enemy. So he makes like 2 or 3 and does clever things with them, which Naruto sort of did at the beginning of the show, but sort of stopped doing later on.
I see.
It's everyone's favorite character now, Looker.
Okay, you see, I don't want to just be that guy that is like, oh, it's from Gen 4, so it's bad, but I've just never really gotten it, because talking funny isn't a character, like, doesn't make you a good character, it just makes you a guy who talks funny, you know? Like, right. I mean, the Gen 7's extra stuff kind of made him a little interesting, because he was concerned about the other girl's, like, health to the point where, like, he actually went behind her back to make sure she got rest, which was actually, like, interesting character development. But he's just kind of here, and then he talks funny, and then he leaves, and he doesn't feel like he does anything.
What, so he's a recurring character, is he?
Yeah, but he just kind of...
He's in every gen from now on.
Oh,
he just kind of shows up, though. Well, in this game specifically, he just kind of shows up and doesn't do much, you know? He's like...
It's basically if Pokemon was trying to make their own Zenigata character.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's not bad. I'm fine with that.
I mean, it doesn't, like, offend me, but I've never liked him.
Yeah,
you know, is the big thing.
I'm always of the mind. I'm just of the mind of, if you want him here, fine, make him do something.
So, like, I do like the idea of having recurring characters between RPG sequels. Like, just...
I think it's a great thing, especially for Pokemon, where the whole appeal of Pokemon is having, like, it be this interconnected world and stuff, where characters and stuff, reoccurring characters is a great way to, I think it does a lot for Pokemon specifically. It's just
this
that
one is not
doesn't
very good.
Do.
Yeah,
and the other one that from Gen 4 that pops up a lot, Cynthia, I don't really like her either, and I know I just got the waifu squad on my ass for saying that, but I'll get into that when she actually shows up.
I suppose I might have some opinions on that, or I might not. I've never played Gen 4, so I wouldn't know.
Cynthia's this region's champion.
Oh.
Basically. So, and she's like a lot of people's favorites, but I don't get why.
I guess.
Well, two things. One, she's hot. Two, she's actually difficult.
Oh.
Yeah, but I don't like that fight at all because she's kind of bullshit. But we'll get to it.
We'll get to that.
This is the town with the first gym in it, right?
No.
No? Oh, okay. It goes to show how well I remember this game.
This is kind of your goldenrod.
Wow,
oh, okay.
The skyscraper is like the only thing that's made it worth being in 3D so far.
Gen 4 looks okay. It doesn't look terrible, but it looks fine.
It's appropriate for the time. This game came out in what, 2006, 2007. Yeah. I'd still say it's not great looking, and other DS RPGs, even from that time, do better. Like, I don't want to be a Dragon Quest whore all day, but the animations and 3D and environments in the Dragon Quest 4, 5, 6 remakes, I think, blow Pokemon Gen 4 out of the water, personally. And there are a couple of other smaller games as well that I think look
I've said
better,
before that part of, like, a large part of why you would want to have 2D sprites on 3D environments is to have more complicated environments, like more organic-looking environments. You know, look at a game like Xenogears, which went for that kind of style. The environments in that were pretty goddamn intricate. Sometimes the camera was shit, but...
The Pokemon sprites are fine, and the animations are okay. It's basically just Gen 3, you know, in terms of the actual battles, which I'm okay with.
Yeah, it's just slightly more detailed Gen 3.
Yeah, so I don't have any issue really with the battle graphics at all. Like, no. I mean, the 3 frames of animation at the start of the fight isn't really impressive anymore but it
was nice for the time.
Like, here's the thing about it, though, is that it was always so weird because they kept on taking it out and putting it back in. Because it wasn't
you had animation in Crystal, and then it wasn't in Gen 3.
But they brought it back for Emerald, and if I remember correctly, it wasn't in Diamond and Pearl, and then they added it for Platinum. I could be wrong about that. So
I think they were in Gen 4 vanilla.
It's okay. It's kind of weird. It's like Pokemon is allergic to change.
It's weird because Pokemon's simultaneously allergic to change and like to change too much at the same time, which is weird. It's like the core concepts stay the same, but they keep on switching gimmicks in and out like crazy, and it's very it lends each game to have a very strange feel where it's basically the same as the ones that came before it, but
now we have
Gigantamaxing.
Things.
Hey, I'm going to show you two pictures: Mega Evolution and Gigantamaxing. Tell me what's the difference between these pictures.
It's a trick question. They're the same thing.
It's the same picture. So I mean, we'll get to it.
No, let's not even get started on the point where people talk about like IVs and EVs as if they're good things.
You know what? Competitive. You know what? I'm not even gonna get started on a competitive Pokemon rant right now because I really.
All I know is that if I want to get into numerology, there's a New Age bookstore right down the street that I could go to. That's a hell of a lot cheaper than a Pokemon game.
Well, it depends on how much. Actually, you know what? In pretty much any game, now that I'm thinking about it, the Pokemon is probably still more expensive than any given book. Because even going back a couple of gens, at GameStop, like a Gen 4 game will still cost you like a good $30. Because Pokemon never goes down in price. And I mean never goes down in price. So